And then when you put your hands over the food, you go around your food 3 times and say, purify, heal, and harmonize the food that you eat. Now, the medicine woman I work with, Ocean of Fastwell, she worked with scientists. They proved it actually heals and changes the vibration of the food that you do it over.
By the sound, are the vibrations going through everything and everybody?
Energy, the vibration, the whole thing, all about it. The energy you produce.
All right, well, let's share that with our ACO members, our ACO Association. We're Universal Life Ministers, but that one sounds good. So share it again where we can incorporate it if we choose to. This is by choice, by your spiritual choice.
And I was with my medicine woman 28 years up until about 15 years ago. So I still do it. I've been doing it for a long time. And
now, how did she train? Let me ask you, why do you do it? Because you believed that she was teaching you something of value? So people will go, well, I don't want to do something different, or that's too much work before I eat, or I don't want to be seen out in public doing this.
People when they cook, they say if you're angry, people won't eat their food, or you put anger into the food.
You'll feel it or get...
Right, exactly. We create energy. So why not create positive energy in the food that you're going to eat? I mean, I actually ate hemlock, and it didn't do a thing to me. So I'm just saying, when you do a prayer over what you eat, all right, it puts positive energy in there, and it goes inside your body. I'm not saying you're not ever going to get sick or different things, but I promise you're not going to die. I'm just saying that because you're putting the right intention in what you're doing when you eat and everybody else around you. I do it whether I'm in a restaurant, a diner, wherever I am. I don't care. So I used to stand in the water and do my prayers in the morning, but it's a different kind of a prayer. I do a native prayer in the morning. It's called sunrise ceremony, but you give thanks to the directions and they still talk to animals and the goddess and all those things. But meeting with them is incredible. I can say I met with the goddess of the lower realm as well. It was one of the most incredible experiences I had in my native training. So
you're going to let that person come on? You want to see who they are?
Sure.
Can you
want me to bring them on? You want to bring them on?
I'll punch the button. Let's see. Fort Myers, it may be Diana. Hi, 239. You've got a Southern Florida number.
Yeah,
say hi?
But I'm in Indiana. This is Diana. I'm just listening. Go ahead.
Yay! Yes, Diana McClintock, Tommy. Remember her? Old ACO, Universal Life Minister. Has some stories to tell. So she's back. You got a Fort Myers number, but you're in Indiana. Well, cool. It's Old Home Week for all our Universal Life Ministers. Yay. Well, Diana, this is cool. And you came in right when he's talking about this prayer. Did you hear about this lady that trained him? Have you ever done that? I've never done that.
Yeah, the sunrise prayer, always, yeah. I don't know.
If you blow on your hands and you...
Well, I make the motions, the whole set. You get down and make, and you kneel, and then you look up, and then or like an upside down V, and then your hands are up in the air. Yeah, I know that one.
Oh, just tell me.
And you put your hands over your food before you eat it 3 times?
Well, it's funny.
I used to.
In religion, when you pray, you bend down and look down, all right? Most Native people, when they pray, they look up. It's kind of the opposite. It's kind of funny in a way to me.
Why is that? Has anybody studied that?
You do end up looking up. First you're kneeling down, and then you get back up, and then you put your hands up in the air and look up. That's the prayer I learned.
What, in Catholic Church?
No. This is in no church.
No church.
Catholic Church. I'm talking about church, religion, because they stay on their knees the whole time, and they're looking down, and they pray, and then when their prayer's done, they look up. But I went to church 14 years straight.
All right, so there's all kind of prayers, and there's all kind of ways to do it. And is it spiritual or is it religious? Is it when you learn how to pray based on how?
No. When you learn to work with energy, it's a small. I won't say it's spiritual to the masses. It's the beginning of understanding spiritual energy, which is where the beginning starts. You have to understand what you're going to deal with. You want to become a healer, you have to learn about energy. You have to learn about how it radiates, how you create energy in your body, how you send it out through your body. I mean, and we all do it, sometimes in a bad way, sometimes in a good way. But being aware of that is so important.
Well, why is it New Age is classified with all the healers? And I never really liked the word New Age. I use Ascension Age and Christ Consciousness and the Pure of Light.
They don't like the word New Age because it's a new religion.
No, I don't use New Age. Therapeutic touch.
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of words for people that do healing work. So you use therapeutic touch. I study with Max Christopher in Kowloon, and I learned all the different ways to do healing work with your hands and fingers and just holding your hands over a person. I mean, we made people jump up and down, bounce around, and all kinds of stuff. It's psychic energy. It's not above that. I mean, people want to say it's so spiritual. No, psychic abilities. Somebody asked me the other day to say them. There's over 150. The basic ones are about 32. And I could name them, but I don't feel like going through that list. But they're the first aspect of learning spirituality. And ascension is 32. Once you attain out-of-body experience, telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudio, and all those words, ESP, mediumship, and you learn all that, then you can go through ascension. But you have to learn them all.
Well, that's the old schools. And I came in and opened up the Ascension Ancient Mystery Schools, and before we had the Internet. And the people were calling me from all over the world somehow because they saw my pyramid with the lines through it, and I put it in the paper. And putting an advertisement, folks, of any kind in Hawaii, in the Honolulu, and you can appreciate this, Tommy, living there, it's like an act of Congress. You know, it's almost like they don't want you to do anything, and they know who you are, why you got the third degree back in the 80s when I lived in 89 to 94 when I lived in Hawaii. But that has to do with the change, with the ascension, and opening up the ancient mystery schools, meaning knowledge I was going to bring and share, which we're doing now. And that has to do with spirituality, but it's easier, Tommy, to generalize and say, okay, spirituality versus religion. I don't know if Diana, would you agree with that? Because you know what I'm saying. How many people say they're spiritual and not religious? You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, always. I don't claim to be religious.
TJ, you know what not religious means? They don't believe in Christ. That's what it means.
Oh, well, then I'm religious.
Non-religious people don't believe in Christ, so it separates them. Because if you believe in Christ, that's Christianity. Not that they know what Christ was, but that's
there's other religions besides Christianity.
I work with Mother Mary, so if I work with Mother Mary, I must believe in Christ.
Right, exactly.
Well, then we've got a whole new thing. We've got to chart out a whole new thing here, Tommy, because, we're talking in general for everybody listening to us as the ACO Association, for our Ascension Center organization, but we're spiritual. We're not religious. So, we're universal life ministers. We all three agreed to that, and so did it was sort of weird. Bill did it, Diana did it, you did it, and I did it. We're the four main
my partner
leaders of this Sunday thing.
My partner calls me a Christian. She goes, "You're religious stuff." She always says that to me. When we
Is
talk
she trying to put you down because you're not Buddhist?
She wants me to follow her path, but I don't consider Jesus a religion. He never taught a religion. So the idea of religion is still a man-made idea, the same as New Age or spirituality.
And my kids love it. My kids listen to it on TV, and all these new guys with telling them, and they're young guys in their 20s and 30s, and the people next door, and all the ones close to them go down to the high school here in Gulf Breeze and listen to that young guy. And I went, and he already had his focus on the adults that were young, having kids. And none of it applied to me. I didn't learn a thing. So I guess we got to talk about, not only are there separation in spirituality and religions, but just going and people that are forming new churches. Some of the old churches in old ways, they're people They should use them for homeless shelters or feed the poor or something. So many old buildings not used anymore. But spirituality, what we do.
TJ, you know the word. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Those dogs are going to die with that set. Now, when Jesus walked, he said to his followers, "Leave your families, leave your children, and follow me." He didn't say bring your family. He didn't say bring your children. He said walk away from them. So that alone, Christianity doesn't understand it. They think the opposite of what it means. But we have to look deeper into whatever you assume we think we know, as far as, especially when people try to translate words, and even the Emerald Tablets, thought the Atlantean, when he talked about spiritualism and going into the spiritual realm and things like that. Let me just say this. The medicine woman I studied with went with an Aborigine tribe into the mountains. She learned the secret technique for ascension. There's a whole set of movements done to get into the pyramid, which Jesus did. After he went in the pyramid, that's when he learned all his psychic abilities. So I'm saying most people, when they say they go to ascension, they go on into the astral plane. That doesn't mean they ascended. That means they ascend into the astral plane. Now, getting back to when we talk about ascension and these beings that say they are doing it, when Thought the Atlantean talked about it, he explained that in detail. But getting back to the medicine woman, she was at this Aborigine tribe. They showed her the technique. They brought her into a pyramid. It's called the Woman's Pyramid because all the men that got involved with trying to open up the pyramid died. Only 2 women were allowed inside, and she was one of them. Inside the pyramid, there was 2 statues. All right? I'm not going to say who they were, but there was 2 statues inside that pyramid. And then they had to close it back up because they couldn't let religion know that. So
well, go ahead. Tell us what you know, because that's not fair. The door was closed. Were they aliens? Were they animals? What were
no,
they?
One was Jesus, and one was the female goddess.
Well, that's what my brain saw was a male and female. So it just seems like the 0-1, if you're not one, you're the other. And people will say that there were no morphodites, there were no boths. But something tells me there was both at one time. But some people argue in any religion or any spirit that no, there's only one another. Look at all the animals, the trees. They have to be pollinate, and this is a binary or 0-1 universe.
I was a nurse in a newborn nursery. We had babies that had both.
So you did have, there is people, and yes, so Diana is telling you folks that there still is beings on this planet born with both sexes. Now, in everyone, in India and others, what countries feel like they're not accepted? Is all world, Diana, you being a nurse, registered nurse, 30 years experience and a PhD and all that, what does that mean to people? Do they think in their religions or spirituality? You know what I'm saying? A lot of these old cultures think they're you know what I'm saying? Like they're blessed, or like a goddess or god, or they are cursed.
No, they just think of it as a deformity.
A deformity. Those kids are deformed. They're just born that way. Well,
TJ, we have people being born with gills up until the early 20s. We have people born with tails, and this is no lie, TJ.
My daughter was born with a tail. My mother, my sister, my sister, and they had the tails removed. And my mother had scoliosis of the spine. But my daughter she still thinks she gets, Mama, why'd you let them cut my tail off? I'm like, baby, Mommy wasn't even, I died and came back, but they had a hard time keeping me in my life. And she and I didn't get bonded for the first 6 weeks. I wasn't even conscious. They had to teach me how to breathe and walk again after dying. Literally dying for over 6 minutes, which was impossible. But I stayed out of body for a long time. But while I was unconscious for several weeks, they couldn't put the name on the birth certificate. They wanted me to be conscious, the mother to be conscious, and they waited. She and I didn't bond for that. We still have this wall because we didn't bond like Mama I didn't get to feed her or breastfeed her or do any of those things. But